Have you ever noticed how some of the most peaceful people you know seem to function perfectly on what most would consider too little sleep? While the world obsesses over 8 hours of rest, ancient Taoist masters discovered something far more profound about true restoration. They understood that the quality of our inner state determines how deeply we can rest, not the number on our clock. Tonight, as millions toss and turn despite following every sleep hygiene rule, we explore how Taoism reveals that genuine rest comes not from forcing our bodies into submission, but from achieving harmony between our inner nature and the natural flow of life itself. The modern sleep industry has convinced us that rest is a mechanical process, something we can optimize with the right mattress, perfect temperature, and strict schedules. We measure our worth by how many hours we manage to unconsciously surrender to sleep, yet we wake feeling more exhausted than when we closed our eyes. This relentless pursuit of perfect sleep has become another source of anxiety, another way we fight against our natural rhythms instead of dancing with them. But what if everything we believe about sleep is missing the most essential element of true restoration? Taoism teaches us that sleep is not about shutting down our system for maintenance, like some biological machine. Instead, it reveals sleep as a sacred practice of returning to our original nature, a time when we naturally align with the Tao, the fundamental principle that flows through all existence. When we understand sleep through Taoist wisdom, we discover that the exhausted executive who sleeps 10 hours and wakes drained differs fundamentally from the peaceful monk who rests 4 hours and awakens refreshed. The difference lies not in duration, but in the quality of surrender, the depth of harmony with natural principles that govern both rest and wakefulness. The first principle that transforms our relationship with rest is understanding that true fatigue rarely comes from physical exertion alone. Wu Wei, often translated as effortless action, teaches us that most of our exhaustion stems from swimming against the current of life rather than flowing with it. Think about your most draining days. Were they filled with physical labor, or were they consumed by worry, resistance, planning, and fighting against circumstances beyond your control? When we live in harmony with Wu Wei, we conserve the vital energy that sleep is meant to restore. We stop exhausting ourselves through mental and emotional resistance, creating space for genuine rest to occur naturally. Consider how a river never appears tired despite flowing continuously day and night. It does not fight against the landscape, but finds the path of least resistance, moving around obstacles with grace and persistence. When we apply this same principle to our daily lives, we discover that much of our fatigue dissolves. We stop pushing against closed doors and learn to recognize when circumstances are inviting us to flow in a different direction. This does not mean becoming passive or giving up on our goals. Instead, it means distinguishing between productive action and wasteful struggle, between genuine effort and exhausting resistance. Have you ever noticed how effortlessly tired you become when you truly accept what cannot be changed? This is not the fatigue of defeat, but the natural tiredness that comes when we stop carrying the weight of trying to control everything around us. When you release the need to force outcomes, to manipulate circumstances, to convince others to see things your way, your body naturally begins to relax into its inherent rhythms. This is the first step towards sleep that truly restores rather than merely providing temporary escape from the day's accumulated tension. The second principle reveals how our relationship with time itself affects the quality of our rest. Xiren, meaning natural spontaneity, teaches us that forcing sleep according to artificial schedules often works against our body's innate wisdom. While consistency has its place, Taoist philosophy suggests that rigid adherence to external timing can disconnect us from the subtle signals our body provides about when rest is truly needed. Some nights your system may require deep restoration. Other nights, a few hours of quality rest may be sufficient. Learning to distinguish between these needs requires cultivating sensitivity to your internal landscape, rather than relying solely on external rules. This does not mean abandoning all structure or sleeping whenever we feel like it. Instead, it means developing the awareness to recognize when our body is genuinely calling for rest, versus when we are simply following habits or fighting against our natural alertness. Many people force themselves to bed at a specific time even when their system is naturally alert and peaceful, then wonder why they lie awake for hours. Others stay awake long past the point when their body is clearly signaling readiness for sleep, pushing through fatigue with caffeine and stimulation. Both approaches work against the natural intelligence that could guide us toward truly restorative rest. The practice of Xiren invites us to become sensitive to the subtle rhythms within our own system. This might mean noticing that certain activities naturally prepare you for sleep, while others energize you regardless of the clock. It could involve recognizing seasonal changes in your sleep patterns, honoring the way your body responds to longer or shorter days. Most importantly, It means trusting that your body has an inherent wisdom about rest that no external authority can provide. The third principle addresses what Taoists understand as the root cause of most sleep disturbances: the monkey mind that refuses to settle. Jingzuo, the practice of quiet sitting, reveals that the quality of our mental state before sleep determines how deeply we can surrender to rest. Most people bring the day's accumulated mental activity directly into bed, expecting their racing thoughts to somehow magically quiet themselves the moment their head touches the pillow. But the mind that has been agitated all day does not suddenly become peaceful simply because we decide it is time to sleep. Traditional Taoist practice includes a period of conscious transition between the active day and the receptive night. This is not about following a complex ritual, but about creating space for the mind to naturally settle. Just as muddy water becomes clear when allowed to be still, our mental activity naturally quiets when we stop stirring it up. This might involve spending a few minutes in simple observation of your breath, gentle movement, or quiet reflection on the day without judgment or planning. The practice of Jingzuo before sleep serves as a bridge between the yang energy of daily activity and the yin energy of rest. Instead of collapsing into bed while still mentally engaged with work, relationships, or tomorrow's obligations, we consciously shift our attention inward. This does not require formal meditation or special techniques. Sometimes it simply means sitting quietly and allowing whatever is present in your mind to be there without engaging with it, like watching clouds pass through an open sky. When we approach sleep with this quality of inner stillness, we often discover that we need less time to feel truly rested. The sleep that follows genuine mental quietude is qualitatively different from the restless unconsciousness that comes when we try to escape our mental activity through tiredness. In peaceful sleep, the body can engage its natural restoration processes without interference from mental tension or emotional residue from the day. The fourth principle reveals how our emotional state throughout the day directly impacts our capacity for restorative sleep. Taoism teaches that unexpressed or unprocessed emotions create energetic blockages that prevent the natural flow of rest. When we carry resentment, anxiety, excitement, or any intense emotion into sleep, our system remains partially activated even during unconscious hours. True rest requires emotional balance, not emotional numbness or suppression. This understanding shifts how we approach the hours before sleep. Instead of trying to force relaxation over unresolved emotional tension, we learn to acknowledge and release the day's emotional accumulation. This does not mean analyzing every feeling or trying to solve emotional problems before bed. Rather, it involves a simple practice of recognizing what emotions we are carrying and allowing them to move through our system naturally. Consider how animals in nature handle stress or excitement. They experience the emotion fully, express it appropriately, and then return to a state of natural relaxation. Humans often carry emotional energy for hours, days, or years, creating a constant background tension that interferes with genuine rest. Learning to process emotions as they arise throughout the day, rather than accumulating them until bedtime, creates the inner spaciousness that allows for truly peaceful sleep. Sometimes this emotional release happens through gentle movement, conscious breathing, or simply acknowledging to yourself what you are feeling without trying to change it. The goal is not to eliminate all emotion, but to avoid carrying the day's emotional residue into the sacred space of sleep. When we sleep with a clear emotional field, our rest becomes genuinely restorative, rather than merely an unconscious escape from accumulated tension. The fifth principle explores how our relationship with darkness itself affects our capacity for deep rest. Modern life has largely disconnected us from the natural rhythm of light and dark that governs our circadian biology. We flood our evenings with artificial light, then wonder why our bodies struggle to recognize when it is truly time to rest. Taoist philosophy teaches that darkness is not merely the absence of light, but a sacred energy that invites us into the yin aspect of existence, the receptive, regenerative, and deeply nourishing state that balances our active young hours. True appreciation for darkness means recognizing it as an ally in restoration, rather than something to be overcome with bright screens and stimulating activities. This does not require living like ancient hermits, but involves simple practices that honor our biological need for genuine darkness. It might mean dimming lights in the evening hours, spending time outdoors during sunset, or creating a bedroom environment that truly supports deep rest rather than merely convenient sleep. Many people fear the quiet and darkness that naturally invite sleep, filling these precious hours with entertainment, social media, or mental stimulation. But when we learn to appreciate the restorative power of genuine darkness, we discover that rest becomes a pleasure rather than a struggle. The darkness that once felt empty or boring reveals itself as richly supportive of our body's natural healing and restoration processes. This principle also extends to how we handle middle-of-the-night awakenings. Instead of immediately reaching for stimulation or becoming anxious about lost sleep, we can learn to rest peacefully in the darkness, even if we are not unconscious. Sometimes the body wakes naturally as part of its restoration process, and fighting this awakening creates more tension than the awakening itself. Learning to rest peacefully in conscious darkness often leads to natural return to sleep without the anxiety that typically accompanies nighttime waking. The sixth principle addresses what Taoists understand as the relationship between our daytime choices and our nighttime rest. Te, meaning virtue or power in Taoist philosophy, refers to living in alignment with our authentic nature. When our daily actions consistently express our genuine values and natural character, we create an internal harmony that naturally supports peaceful sleep. However, when we regularly act against our authentic nature, compromise our values, or live in ways that feel false to our true self, we create internal conflict that manifests as restless sleep and chronic fatigue. This principle suggests that sleep problems often reflect deeper questions about how we are living our lives. The executive who cannot sleep despite perfect sleep hygiene might need to examine whether their work aligns with their values. The parent who wakes exhausted every morning might need to consider whether they are trying to be someone they are not. The student who struggles with rest might need to evaluate whether their goals truly reflect their authentic interests and abilities. Living in alignment with Te does not mean making dramatic life changes overnight. Sometimes it begins with small choices to honor your authentic preferences. Speak truthfully in situations where you would normally people please, or pursue activities that genuinely nourish you rather than those you think you should enjoy. As you make choices that feel increasingly authentic to your true nature, you often discover that sleep becomes easier and more naturally restorative. This alignment also extends to how we end each day. Taking a few moments to reflect on whether your actions throughout the day felt authentic and aligned can provide valuable information about sources of internal tension. When we consistently act in harmony with our deepest values, we naturally develop what Taoists call a clear conscience, an internal spaciousness that supports genuinely peaceful rest. The seventh principle reveals how our beliefs about sleep itself can either support or undermine our capacity for rest. Many people have developed so much anxiety around sleep that the bedroom becomes a place of stress rather than sanctuary. They lie in bed calculating how many hours remain until morning, monitoring their body for signs of tiredness, and becoming increasingly agitated when sleep does not come according to their timeline. This vigilant relationship with sleep creates exactly the kind of mental activation that prevents natural rest from occurring. Taoist wisdom suggests approaching sleep with trust rather than control, faith rather than anxiety. This means releasing attachment to specific outcomes and trusting that your body has an innate wisdom about rest that operates beyond conscious management. When we stop trying to force sleep and instead create conditions that naturally invite rest, we often discover that sleep comes more easily and feels more restorative than when we approach it as a problem to be solved. This trust extends to how we handle nights when sleep does not come easily. Instead of becoming anxious about lost sleep, we can view wakefulness as an opportunity for quiet reflection, gentle stretching, or peaceful rest even without unconsciousness. Some of history's greatest insights have come during wakeful nights when the mind was quiet but alert. Learning to value these moments rather than fight against them transforms our entire relationship with nighttime rest. Developing trust in your body's sleep wisdom also means recognizing that sleep patterns naturally vary throughout life. Periods of lighter sleep often correlate with times of growth, transition, or creative activity. Instead of pathologizing these variations, we can learn to support our system through different phases while maintaining trust in the underlying intelligence that governs rest and activity cycles. The eighth principle explores the relationship between our breath and our capacity for restorative sleep. Taoist breathing practices reveal that most people have forgotten how to breathe in ways that naturally invite rest. Shallow, anxious breathing patterns that develop during stressful days often continue into evening hours, keeping the nervous system activated even when we are trying to rest. Learning to consciously shift into deeper, slower breathing patterns signals to your entire system that it is safe to move into rest and restoration mode. The practice does not require complex breathing techniques, but involves simply remembering to breathe fully and naturally, especially during the transition from day to night. As you prepare for sleep, taking a few conscious breaths that fill your belly rather than just your chest helps activate the parasympathetic nervous system that governs rest and digestion. This natural shift in breathing often triggers a cascade of physiological changes that support deep, restorative sleep. Many people discover that focusing gently on their breath as they lie in bed provides a natural anchor for attention that prevents the mind from engaging with the day's problems or tomorrow's challenges. The breath becomes a bridge between conscious relaxation and natural sleep, a gentle way of guiding attention inward without forcing or straining. This breathing awareness serves as a form of moving meditation that naturally transitions into rest. The relationship between breath and sleep also extends to how we handle sleep disruptions. When you wake during the night, returning attention to natural, full breathing often helps the body settle back into rest more easily than trying to force sleep through mental effort. The breath becomes a reliable tool for supporting relaxation and rest, regardless of external circumstances or internal mental activity. The ninth and final principle integrates all previous insights into what Taoists call the art of effortless rest. This involves understanding that true rest is not something we do, but something we allow, not a goal we achieve, but a natural state we return to when obstacles are removed. Like a river that naturally flows downhill when barriers are cleared, rest naturally occurs when we remove the mental, emotional, and physical tensions that obstruct our innate capacity for restoration. This effortless approach means releasing the idea that good sleep requires perfect conditions, ideal timing, or specific duration. Instead, we learn to rest peacefully with whatever circumstances are present, finding ease within imperfection, rather than fighting for ideal conditions that may never arrive. This might mean learning to rest comfortably in hotels, during travel, or when life circumstances disrupt our normal routines. The art of effortless rest also involves recognizing that restoration happens on multiple levels simultaneously. Physical rest repairs and regenerates the body. Mental rest clears accumulated stress and mental fatigue. Emotional rest processes and releases the day's experiences. Spiritual rest connects us with the deeper peace that exists beyond daily fluctuations of mood and circumstance. When we approach sleep with awareness of these multiple dimensions, we often discover that even shorter periods of rest can be profoundly restorative. Most importantly, effortless rest means trusting the process rather than managing it. This trust develops gradually as we learn to distinguish between genuine tiredness that calls for rest and habitual fatigue that comes from resistance to life itself. As we align our daily choices with natural principles, process emotions as they arise, breathe fully throughout the day, and approach darkness as an ally rather than an obstacle, rest begins to feel like a natural pleasure rather than an elusive goal. The wisdom of Taoism reveals that our modern sleep crisis stems not from ignorance about sleep science, but from disconnection from the natural principles that govern genuine rest and restoration. When we remember how to live in harmony with our authentic nature, process the day's experiences fully, and approach rest with trust rather than anxiety, we discover that the body has a remarkable capacity for restoration that operates far beyond our conscious control. The 8 hours that seem so essential to modern sleep science become less important than the quality of inner balance we bring to whatever rest we receive. As you consider implementing these principles in your own life, remember that they work synergistically rather than in isolation. Small shifts in one area often create positive changes throughout your entire system. You might begin by simply noticing where you resist the natural flow of your day, or by creating a few minutes of quiet transition before sleep. Perhaps you will experiment with trusting your body's signals about when rest is needed rather than adhering rigidly to external schedules. The goal is not to become perfect at these practices, but to gradually develop a more harmonious relationship with rest itself. As you learn to honor the natural rhythms that govern both activity and restoration, you may discover that sleep becomes not just more efficient, but genuinely more nourishing. You might find that rest extends beyond nighttime hours into a general quality of ease and flow that permeates your entire day. If this exploration of Taoist approaches to rest has resonated with your own experience of seeking genuine restoration in our hyperactive world, I invite you to like this video and consider subscribing to our channel. We regularly explore how ancient wisdom can address modern challenges, offering practical insights for those seeking deeper peace and authentic well-being in their daily lives. Your subscription helps us continue sharing these timeless principles with others who are also seeking alternatives to the stress and exhaustion that have become so common in contemporary life. Each time you choose to honor your natural rhythms rather than forcing artificial patterns, you participate in a quiet revolution toward greater harmony with the fundamental principles that govern health, creativity, and genuine contentment. The rest you seek is not something you must earn through perfect behavior, but something you can remember how to receive through alignment with the wisdom that already exists within your own system.